Okay, we did fix our time. Oh, it is noon. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. So special town board meeting. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you all for making the time for this special meeting. I thought it worthy to have this conversation open in the public and amongst the town board. You know, here's the good news. We are talking about our comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan is, one of those things that always seems to get deprioritized because of other fires, and there are definitely other fires in Hillsdale that we've been dealing with. So it's a good thing that we are talking about the comprehensive plan. It is a priority of this administration, not during the last 18 months because of unforeseen circumstances, but it's something that we can definitely prepare for and get this done. So I just wanted to reiterate that commitment right here and now. I didn't put any resolutions or anything on the agenda other than a discussion about the time-sensitive grant before us, the Environmental Protection Fund Smart Growth Planning and Zoning Grant Program, which is due on July 31st. And I know there was some I know there were some concerns expressed, and I wanted to, again, I did not have a formal resolution, but I would like to open the meeting up for discussion amongst the board about this particular grant and questions that may arise. So who would like to start? Steve?
But, so just so you know, the last time I looked at it, my computer broke the other day, so I haven't been able to look at it in the last few days. I got a new computer today, but I did see, that there are a lot of, call them red lines or whatever, edits.
Those are, I did go through it with us.
So I just wanted to know what the status of that was.
Well, those were, look, here's the history, and Jamie, please pop in and correct me. Last year, and I'm not saying this is an excuse, or I'm just giving you the lay of the land last year of our town hall mold remediation coming, post-traumatic stress. It's coming to the tail end of that. We were a new administration, new grant committee. The CFA is due every year on July 31st, and we wanted to get one in. And Jamie, with I believe Gretchen's help, worked very hard to get one in right under the wire. We did not have time in the July board meeting to formally approve the actual application, but I did sign it and send it off on its way to New York State. They did review it. They did decline our application. However, in a follow-up call in January of 2025, they were very, we met with the
Department of State.
Department of State, I'm assuming a grant committee or whatever, Department of State. Reviewers, okay. Via Teams or Zoom. And they were complimentary about the application that was filed and suggested that we refile. This year with the sewer situation and several other situations, this did not come to the fore until right before the July town board meeting. I thought as liaison to the planning board, I alerted them. Just for the record, the planning board did last year submit a letter of a general support of the comprehensive plan. By the time the grant was submitted, they did not then go back and re-review either the application or the resolution. So again, other priorities. My priority with the planning board is to get them a new secretary, which took a while, and to tighten their processes. And I think we made really good, progress over the last couple of months. Anyway, where am I in this long convoluted story? So anyway, here we are. The grant for 2025 is due on July 31st. Upon closer reading of the actual application, I had some questions. Barbara and the planning board had some questions, and potentially other members of the board had some questions. So, which is why I called this meeting, just to hash this out and see what we can do at this point. Sound good? Did I miss anything? Great. The grant is for potentially $110,000, 111?
Yeah.
Greater than $100,000. The grant, Copape received this grant last year?
Yes,
Okay. We are, at least for the sewer grants, we are above the household median income of 80, we're 81,000. I think Copape, I just looked this up, is 50,000, which I did not know that. Anyway, you learn. But anyway, I did go through and make notes on the former application and called this meeting to discuss not only my notes, but any other concerns anyone else might have.
So is Copac want to do the same thing as we want to do when they receive the grant, or?
They wanted to redo their comprehensive plan, yes.
So it's similar to what
Yeah,
we wanted to, what
Yeah.
Copac did.
Copic's process was a little bit different because they recently, in the last 3 years, actually updated their zoning code before updating their comprehensive plan, which is not
usual.
usual.
Right, okay. Okay, well,
Actually, I think our town council, Ken, was involved in the relatively recent revisions to their zoning code.
mhm,
And I think, you might be familiar with this, but they did extensive revisions to, subdivision, their subdivision codes, for, I
for
guess,
housing.
for housing. I don't know, you probably.
Yeah, Meredith and the housing committee were pretty involved with that.
Yeah, so I don't know the reason for that specifically. They also, I think, requested less money, than we're requesting. Sorry to them, I don't know.
Okay,
But,
So Mike, are we gonna go through all the red lines or?
I mean, what do you think is best here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
think
and
we should, and we should start now, because I'm on a time.
Okay, all right,
I do
okay.
have a
Right.
question. So the money, if this grant was received, what would the money go towards? Is it just going towards hiring a person to help us to do a comprehensive plan? It would go to
Wait.
salary?
Most of it, yes. There would be some money allocated to take care of, administrative time here in the town.
yeah,
Okay.
so if I could answer this, more specifically. This application provides a specific budget detail. So we have a kind of model budget line item, it's gives hourly rates and all of these details. But it's just a model. So once if the grant is awarded, the town board would need to review that model budget and determine, if what the actual budget would look like. What we're doing in this application is demonstrating that we have some idea of how to make a budget and how to put a budget together and the inputs required. How to describe project management, those type of things.
So the last question is, if we didn't have this grant or there's nothing to stop the town from itself putting out a thing saying, we want to hire somebody to do a similar job?
Nothing at all.
I just,
Nothing at all.
so you're addressing your questions to.
I'm just to anybody who can
Oh, okay.
answer.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, looking at the anybody who can answer the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just so you, I did the bulk of this application and Gretchen assisted, but I think most of the inputs
So may I suggest, instead of going line by line to start, maybe, I can try to categorize different, because they
Sure.
seem to,
Yeah,
and had I been smart, I would have done this before, but I think I can do it on the fly. First off is just the general, we are, registered with the, give me the acronym, I'm sorry. SFS, so we are using that for the press grants, so, it does need to be administered all through the town clerk's office and through the town board. I don't think that's a huge impediment. The other,
yeah, and so by the
Yeah.
way, we had correspondence about that last year.
Yeah.
I am not involved in that at all. So
Right.
that registration has nothing to do with me. I had to update it for the original application because it had contact information of people that had never been associated with our town. So they were fearful that it may have been fraudulent, and I worked with
right,
the town accountant and Mike to resolve that.
okay, and
Yeah.
last year was very rushed.
I mean, I haven't.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, the
Yeah,
person
but-
is no longer here, but it
Well,
basically, just,
the way I read it for the SFS was that, the SFS actually came into being last year. And the fact that portal was opened last year. So I don't know where these other people were or what they
Yes.
signed up for or
It
whatever else.
could have
but
been
when
like
I
a-
went in there, the press.
So I'm gonna-
name was on-
I'm gonna curtail this.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay, the other overriding issue is that this grant application seems to imply or imply appointed positions that have not been discussed with the town board, project managers, liaisons. It discusses potential salary increases for employees and hours that would have to be vetted. So that's the other concern I had.
yeah, so again, these are not based on specific employees, these are based on positions, and it's just a generic model budget, an ideal budget.
Right.
That can be altered based on whatever the board needs at that time, or determines at the time. The entire application is written as a model, like everything in it could say is, almost like, it can't be, we can't talk about our registrations and certifications. We can't like kind of falsify that information, so we hope that all of that information is correct. But the rest of it is based on this like ideal, this ideal scenario that has not yet been, will not be reviewed and vetted by the board until we hear if we receive the award in December.
Well, I have one issue with that is, and because I was never asked, and as far as I know, there's never any conversation about it. The deputy town clerk works for me alone.
Well, you're,
And you're assigning hours.
yeah, but the town clerk controls the workload and the schedule, and that's it for.
Same as the deputy works for.
Right.
Deputy supervisor
Okay.
works for.
So-
Right. So you need to understand what these roles are, like the planning board clerk works for the town, yes, but they work for the planning board. The planning board and ones that.
Yeah,
And the same thing with the zoning board.
so
A quick discussion with any of those entities would have been helpful because.
Yeah.
Learn.
I actually did I used your input last year to put together the rates of pay for those positions as part of these model inputs.
Well,
But I
that's-
think,
that's
I
part of the
think,
organizational
I think,
plan.
of course, we might not need any help from the deputy clerk. This again is just a model, and it's based on, it's actually based on a model, it's actually very closely based on a template that is provided by the Department of State. So this is something like, there's nothing out of bounds, there's nothing that is not kosher in this application. And I would say, additionally, in another way, people have said like, well, there's certain people missing from this application. Well, I mean, last year, when this application was put together, I mean, some people engaged on the subject, some people didn't. And, you know, I have limitations to, you know, who I can personally put into this application without their, you know, kind of explicit consent, right? So in a practical way, I mentioned the people that I knew that I could mention.
Right, but
Right.
like you mentioned Harrington, would they give complicit consent or?
Well, I mean, Harrington's is probably not in a specific role, they're
Right.
mentioned as probably a major commercial entity in
Right.
our hamlet or
Right,
something of
okay,
that
all right,
nature. I don't think there's any,
Harlem,
Palm Valley,
I think Harlemville, I remember the application actually,
Okay.
that Harlemville is just mentioned as another hamlet. For hamlet
Right.
planning, right? So a comprehensive plan would identify all of the hamlets, not just the Hillsdale hamlet.
So when we mentioned I kind of remember Harrington's and Hawthorne Valley being mentioned when I read it. Are we mentioning them just as a business, or are we mentioning them that they would be somehow part of this grant and we would need them to do something? You know,
No, there's no there, we are not obligating anyone in this application at all. There are no obligations. But of course, when you talk about comprehensive planning, you're going to talk about your largest employer, your two largest employers, Hawthorne Valley. and
I get that. If it's just being a fact that Harrington's is a major
Yeah.
employer of the town, then Harrington, that's just a fact.
Yeah,
But it's not, Harrington's will be involved because we're gonna ask the following of Harrington's.
no.
Okay. The other thing I do recall is, I personally, you know, I have this thing, it's the position, not the person. I mean, when you negotiate a contract, it's always the position, not the person. So I would, delete, people's names from it, but just put the position that they are. You know, I saw, you know, Gretchen's name was in it as whatever. I would just put that title, not the person's name. I don't see that meaning anything. And you know, what difference does it make? She might not even be on the thing next year. Who knows what
Yeah.
Gretchen's gonna
I
be
mean,
doing?
in terms of employees, I would agree with you, but what I think was the strength of this application is that we do have a number of people who are like very experienced with these type of projects, Gretchen being one of them. And I think actually she has so much experience with these type of projects that I think the state actually recognizes some of these people in namesake, and it strengthens our application. That said, I'm happy, you know, the new roster on the planning board, the zoning board, our board, whoever would like to be mentioned in this application or has any type of qualifications whatsoever, I would be happy to add their names. Just please send me an email, or provide a red line with those inputs. That's easy to do.
I have, as you know, I have to take care of the documents, so the things I'm missing for the last year's application is the signed application or the signed piece of paper that says whoever signed off on it.
I turned it
It's a
digitally.
digital application, but I did notice, Mike,
There should be,
Yeah.
a document, well, if it's digital, then where is it? So I don't have it.
Okay, I don't
And
know.
no, I
the
mean,
second one-
it's Mike said,
the
what
second-
Mike redline is the formal, that is.
There's no signature on it.
They don't require a signature.
Okay, so I can sign it.
So it's you
There's no-
authorize the
there's no-
applicant by resolution.
This is, not, we're gonna punt on that issue. Also, when you mentioned an RFI process, you know, I greatly appreciate, I talked to Gretchen this morning, all the work the CAC does. the town, that wasn't formally approved by the
No,
town
no, no,
board?
so let's, the
Yeah.
CSC had nothing to do with this RFI process.
Okay,
So, this RFI process was very candid and informal. This RFI process was me trying to figure out what the line item should be, line item number should be for, so what
well,
amount of
I'm
money
just
we
gonna
should-
read you here,
Yeah.
direct. Sorry, one sec. The project managers, councilperson Karana Nordstrom and CAC member Gretchen Stevens, again, not approved by the board, and citizen committees have started.
Well, that was approved. We were approved to write this, to work together on this. I'm talking, the
Good, you-
project managers refer to the project that is the grant application.
You want,
That was
Not the comprehensive plan,
Right.
it's the actual application that we worked on together. We created this idea that we should actually have a record of how we develop the inputs for the budget. And so I created a spreadsheet
Okay.
of the consultants that we.
just so you know, I have a database of all of our resolutions. The name Stevens does not come up. So, but there wasn't a resolution, but if you're telling me that there's somewhere else in a minute. It's,
Require a board resolution for someone to help write a grant with your council person who has I mean, we did have a resolution
okay,
that authorized us to.
right,
this
okay,
grant,
all
right?
right, okay,
And so what the
So-
RFI was, just to be really clear, it wasn't anything like an RFP or an RFQ, has nothing to do with that. I needed to know what amount of money made sense to ask for the consulting line. The only way to know that was to call planners who are, every planner in the state is very, very familiar with this application. You can call planners in New York City or Albany, and you ask them, well, what amount of money did you apply for in past years? What towns did you work with? What amount of money did you apply for? And that's how we were able to, or that's how really I was able to determine what that line item should be.
but, I can't find it at the moment, but there was a list of actual consultants that
Yes.
were
Yes.
contacted.
Yes, I made a list. I have tracked that in an Excel doc of exactly who I contacted, what we talked about, and I think that is that's a wonderful, I think most towns don't do that research. I did that research, I properly documented it, and so it gives us some power when we're asking for a little bit more money. It allows us to ask for a little bit more money, I would argue. So one of the main feedback that I received from these consultants
Mhm.
is that basically, if you use the requested amounts from 10 years ago, like, let's say you talk to someone that worked on a planner that worked on a municipal comprehensive plan from 10 years ago. Well, they were probably asking for between, $40,000 and $60,000. Well, today, as we know, we wouldn't even, with that amount of money, we wouldn't even get a response in an RFP or, whatever procurement process. We wouldn't get responses from, let's just say quality consultants, because they're not willing to take projects. They know how long comprehensive planning processes take in towns. It's often much longer than people think it is. It requires a lot of public input, and so we wanted to make sure that we had enough room to get a get a line item and so that the board had some wiggle room with who they ultimately chose, for that role.
Okay, so I'm gonna scroll out for big picture. The big picture is, this grant is due in 10 days. A lot of people, I think, not a lot of people, but people should have been brought in. And, again, apologies that there were other priorities, that this did not come forward in earlier in the year or even last year, that this could have been more fully vetted by other parties, specifically the planning board, potentially the zoning board, and bring in housing and economic development and let the board fully digest what's going on here now. So the question before us is, can you alter this, get feedback, get approval in 10 days? And actually 9, because I'm on vacation the last 2 days. Is this logistically possible?
Yeah, I mean, so Mike, thank
Yeah.
you for turning around the red line, and we were able to discuss for a few minutes, after you had said that, so I really appreciate that. But I think, it's totally possible, but what I need as someone who dedicates a lot of extra time to grant writing, a lot of extra time, is when you have criticisms or you have inputs or you see other opportunities that can be added to the application, send a red line, be more concrete. Be more concrete about what you want. If you want me to write a letter to the planning board, or you want me to engage certain groups, or
At the
you want
last
me to have a
meeting-
meeting, like, then
At-
tell me that,
At the
but,
last meeting, you asked the board if we were all behind this.
I'm sorry.
At the last town board meeting, you asked the board if we were all in support of this. Yeah,
Well, there was a resolution, yes.
right. I don't know if the board currently is in support of this right now.
Well, here's my issue is the tight timeframe. And again, this is not something that was on my radar for just logistical reasons. And it needed to be, it was never put in the public record, never put on an agenda. I don't view that as my responsibility when I was otherwise engaged, and I'm sorry, but I'll,
Yeah.
give me the blame, right? That's fine. I don't care. It's just there were legitimate other concerns this whole year that prevented or I just think this needs way more time and consideration and vetting, and especially as we begin this process of a comprehensive review, it's really, really important to bring the stakeholders in. And I know this is just a grant application. I know that, but at the same time, it is making certain, I'm sorry, I can't think today, certain, precedents, assertions, thank you,
Yeah.
and precedents that, and I'm sure most people would sign off on it, but this tight time frame. This is the problem, is this tight time frame that we are now in. That's the crux of my issue. Anybody else like to speak?
I think we need to
I would like to
proceed.
address.
For
the-
sure,
I would just like to address the entering this into the public record.
yeah,
So this was provided to the clerk's office a long
Yeah.
time ago. And we revised our process for how we submit grants, how we approve grants, that
Right.
type of thing. After this application, which is great.
right,
I have done everything I can to, follow those protocols.
Right.
And, in this past year, it was here at town hall, it was in our shared files the entire year. We had,
No,
it was definitely in our shared file, I
not the
mean,
entire year, but-
no, I wasn't. I
can I,
got a
Yeah.
copy.
Wait, Jamie,
No,
Jamie,
I
let
just-
her
I
be.
got
Okay.
a
can I
copy.
just finish?
You are
Yeah.
criticizing something. I got a copy of your application or the application for this grant in October. And the heading for that grant was incomplete. If it's incomplete, I'm not going to do anything with it. I don't know why it said incomplete.
It was uploaded on October 21st.
Right.
No, so
And
there was
there's many
another
emails
file
prior
source.
to that.
There were emails prior to
There
that.
were
There was
emails prior to
another
that,
file.
you said you would get to it, and then we got it in October and it's.
But the crux of the matter is, that it really doesn't matter when a former application was uploaded, only in so much is that we're reapplying. So.
So,
it's-
and I would like to continue.
Yeah,
that
please.
So we do not have precedent for uploading every application in its entirety to the agenda of the town board. As we discussed last year, during the same process review following this application, it's not in the town's interest to take this application, it sure, and put it online. Let me just say that. It should be in the public forum and stakeholders should be able to review it. It should be accessible. I think that it absolutely was. But the reason why we do not link this in a public agenda is because there is plagiarism. There's actually plagiarism of grant applications. So this language, which was not AI generated, it took me many, many hours to put together. When it's uploaded in its entirety, it will be copied in its entirety. And there are consultants and people in the state who search for these type of sources, so they can, grants are copied.
But
So when I submitted it to you and the folder said incomplete, it was just a way to show you that we hadn't been awarded the grant yet. And the project was still active, like we hadn't been awarded the grant. So that was just a way for me to label the file. If you had any questions about that, I would have been happy to, answer them. I can see now that the file that, OneDrive is comically bad. The file that was moved into the other file is now missing a bunch of files. So like I said in the email exchange, it's hard for me to have control over other people's, or to be responsible for other people's
Right.
folders, because I don't know how all the files are now missing in that folder. And that's really hard. If I'm working from a folder on a deadline grant application,
But
it makes this process almost impossible.
just a quick point, I'm assuming that winning grants are foilable. So plagiarists can view them.
That's interesting, because I've actually asked the Department of State in my original review, I asked the Department of State, can you send me the winning grant applications from past years?
Right.
And you know what? They would not do that. So maybe they're foilable.
Right.
I didn't foil for them,
Okay.
and I didn't
Might be
appeal
like
their
the individual.
foil, but
Right, so-
actually, they do recognize that
Okay.
that could happen.
Alright, so we've got a decision maker whether to proceed or not proceed in 10 days, and whether we feel the potential $110,000 is overrides our concerns with this tight time frame. And I just feel that stakeholders have not been fully
Did
given
you
the
read
chance.
Barbara's latest letter?
Yes, I did.
Did everybody read it? Did you read it
Read
for
it for
Steve?
record?
He hasn't read it, yeah.
No, my computer.
You wanna do this?
Long? Read it long. What? Just read it. Is that the right one?
Yes.
Read it in public.
Did it was part,
Let's go ahead and read it.
okay. Dear Jamie and Mike, I wanted to this is from Barbara Pascal, Chair Planning Board. I wanted to provide a little additional feedback now that I've read the actual grant application. I think Mike and Rabin have done an admirable job covering the specific legal / jurisdictional issues at play. In general, however, I am troubled that the application presents as fait accompli both the significant players in the process and the most important priorities of the town. I don't think either of these have been determined. I will reiterate that the planning board is supportive of the need for a comprehensive plan review and recognizes that the CAC can and should play a vital role in the process, particularly as to the elements that lie within specific areas of expertise. However, environmental conservation, climate resiliency, and open space preservation cannot be the only drivers of the conversation, and it is here that I feel that the application lacks heft. I'm not sure that everyone is aware that the planning board, for example, has a member who is a professional planner with the NYC Port Authority and another member who has spent his entire career as a housing finance specialist on Wall Street. I'm suggesting, as did Mike, that we leverage the broad and deep expertise we have available to us amongst the various boards and committees. I have one specific policy point, and here I'm speaking as a member, not an entirety of the town board, since we have not discussed any of this in depth. Not all of the smart growth principles represent the most viable solution for Hillsdale. While walkable downtowns are desirable for many reasons, Hillsdale has a hamlet with approximately 70 homes, and we simply do not have the density to support the businesses and needed for self-sufficient walkable ecosystem. Further, in order to achieve the necessary density, several major and unlikely unfeasible hurdles would have to be overcome. Bullet point 1, water and sewer infrastructure sufficient to allow for additional food services, businesses, not to mention multifamily residences of any consequence. 2, parking. 3, traffic calming, including on-street parking on Route 23, which would require the undoing of the major sidewalk initiative of the last decade and overcoming resistance of the state DOT. In short, without tens of millions of dollars in infrastructure spending, Hillsdale Hamlet cannot become a walkable destination such as Rhinebeck, Chatham, or even Millerton. The challenges are economic, not insufficient planning. Our ZBA and planning boards are open to development in the hamlet, and the current comprehensive plan allows for it, yet without economically viable projects, developer money will continue to be limited. Thank you for your consideration and the opportunity to share my thoughts. Barbara Pascal, Chairman.
If I may
Yeah.
try to address this.
Mhm.
So, she had mentioned that a member of her board is a professional planner with the New York City Port Authority. I remember reviewing his application, or his resume. Great. If these two individuals or any other planning board member, if they would, allow me to edit the application and include their names and credentials, I think that would be amazing for our application. Great.
That's one point out of many.
Okay, so now I'm going to address the rest.
I meant all the red lines in your application. You're addressing Barbara's letter, but there are a lot of red lines in the application.
Right.
I summarized that, yeah.
Of course, we're going to address each red line in the application, and I'm happy to go through that. You were the one that said that you,
I've got to be somewhere at,
okay. So Mike had said in the beginning of this meeting that he was just categorizing those so that we.
So here,
that's why we don't have the time frame. That's why we don't have. the
Okay,
that-
so her point, which actually she brought up, I think in her last letter about smart growth principles. So this application, really the only, one of the only state funding sources for support of comprehensive planning. It requires that you refer to the smart growth principles, which the state adheres to as a policy for planning, for statewide and regional planning. So I don't know, there's 10 principles, and many of them are having to do with the environment, having to do with conservation, having to do with pro-housing initiatives, infrastructure planning, those type of things. Now, none of those smart growth principles, I think, should be seen as offensive to this town in any way.
They're not seen as offensive. They're just, maybe the town doesn't agree on it.
So the town is willing to sacrifice the application because it doesn't, because the planning board chair does not support the concept of walkable downtowns.
No, don't put it on the planning chair, put it on
Well, I'm
the
reading
entire
from
town
her.
board, the planning board, the town. I think more people need to be involved in a voice to say what our comprehensive plan is going to be. And this seems to me to narrow it down to these principles. For instance, you mentioned putting a power facility in Rojam Park in your application. An energy system, and it's like, why? We don't, that's park's not even in Hillsdale. Why is that in the application?
I don't know where that is. If
Well,
you,
no, it's redlined. You should have read the
Okay.
red lines.
yeah, so I did.
I
but if
did.
you- So Joanna,
Don't
So
address
the-
me
so
with
the-
my full name with condescending tone.
Okay.
You know,
Okay, let's not keep this personal, let's
So-
talk about the application.
so. A practical way to edit this application so that we can submit it to the deadline
Mhm.
is for you to provide a red line.
I-
So I would,
I
would.
agree with my red lines, so they
Okay,
are
so I would
provided.
note that, I will note that you have doubly invested in that item that Mike raised.
All of them, I agree with all of his red lines.
Okay, that's
So
great.
you gotta make all those
I,
changes.
yes, I reviewed Mike's red line. And I spoke with him at the beginning of this meeting. I said that I think that all of the red lines can be addressed and that this is not an issue.
Okay,
But
not only addressed, but edited.
So,
I-
we're going round and round. Can Joanna, Jamie, you'll be doing a bulk of this work. Can this be redlined, edited, reviewed? And gotten to a
Vetted
place,
to-
vetted to a place by say a special meeting, or we can do this by email, however we decide. In 9 days, can we do this? Do we want to do this? Do we want to forego until next year? Do you want to do?
I'm not doing anything.
No,
I want this, I want every red line
but-
addressed, I want everybody vetted, I want it rewritten, and I want it to not have.
Okay,
some of these
Jamie, are you
things.
willing to do the work on the chance that you might?
absolutely.
Okay.
Just for the record, Mike, you sent the initial call for this meeting on July 16th.
Yeah,
I asked for a red line by end of day next day. You submitted your red line.
yeah,
No one else was able to. Barbara submitted,
Wait, I agreed with Mike's.
okay,
red,
that's
so I
fine.
don't
So
need
the
to submit.
double support
Yeah,
for Mike's red
okay.
line.
so,
Then Barbara submitted this letter at 10 today.
yeah, she also submitted a letter,
Prior.
by
Right,
Friday.
right. We addressed that
Right.
in the meeting, and
So-
then we voted to approve a resolution to submit this
Right.
application. Okay, so I just need, let's establish a timeline.
Okay, great.
Okay, so first of all, I need red lines. There needs to be concrete edits presented. Because
Okay.
otherwise, just because you feel a certain way or you feel the tone is off or whatever, I can't. Even if I had 3 months.
Amy, this is your application, he's given you the questions on the side, just go in and fix them.
Joanna, I spent 1,000 hours
Yeah,
writing
but
this
okay, Jamie,
application,
that's
okay?
great, but we gave you feedback, we gave you the feedback.
Okay, so, and Jamie's saying she can edit
Okay,
this.
then.
Yes.
Are you comfortable with? What's today? Sorry.
I have one. concrete-
Yes, please,
It's a
please.
concrete question, really. Is there anything, Jamie, within the red lines that Mike had sent to you that you believe?
Yes.
You don't wanna do?
So what we discussed on the phone is that Mike said that there were certain approvals that, statutorily, we had to make certain approvals in order to submit these model inputs for an application. And what I explained was, no, we don't, because they're just model inputs. And if we're awarded the application, then the board can review it and update it. However,
Right,
it sees fit. It's putting the cart before the horse. In this process.
okay. Could you also submit, and again, blame OneDrive, the model budget? Did you sort of
It was,
all
this
that?
was all
Okay.
provided, so I think what happens is, and I tried to warn you about this.
Okay.
In our email exchange.
Right,
But when you
Okay.
take a folder that's that big and you drag it to another folder,
uh-huh,
for whatever reason, sometimes it doesn't.
okay,
And I have no idea why, but it's why I work in a separate folder, and when
Okay.
it's complete, that's why I say incomplete. When it's
Okay.
complete and on my local drive, I then transfer it into your shared folder so
Okay.
that I don't
Okay.
lose the documents I'm working on.
All right. All right. Steve, if Jamie were to provide an edit, look, what's the timeframe here? This has to be uploaded into the system by the 31st. Unfortunately, I'm flying to Denver for vacation on July 30th.
I have.
I will have a computer,
So the inputs to the digital
Yeah.
application, they're all individual files, so you can see them like normal files. So I can send you final versions of those before you leave. I mean, that.
Well, I would like another,
Because I'm, as an admin, on the SFS.
No, this has nothing to do with SFS is the financial system.
Okay.
That's totally separate. I don't have anything to do with that.
okay,
I'm just anyone that the board wants to submit.
Okay.
Be the applicant here, can be the applicant. It could be a consultant, it could be a private person.
right,
That's what the resolution is.
So I've set it up, so it's the town of Belfast,
Why would you do that?
because
As the applicant?
as the admin. Yes. This is
Did you
part-
go into the CFA application and change it?
No,
Okay, well, it's not changed. I was just
no,
in
I
it
mean,
yesterday.
it's
All right.
eligible by
it has to be filed on the 31st. How long would, I'm just working backwards here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
31st deadline. How long will it take you to upload a final version?
So I had said the 25th.
and then everybody.
So
can
so I
review it.
had said before, when I had emailed the resolution to the board, I had said that I would have a final, if not absolutely near final version by the 25th. So if we work back from that date, I think we'll be safe. So if you give me revisions in the next 24 hours, I will be able.
Well, see, that's the problem, because I would like to see your revisions.
Yeah.
And then,
We're not writing a grant.
like,
Yeah, but I can't have multiple versions. So what I will do is I will collect all the revisions. If there's something that.
Katie, you're not hearing me, you're not gonna get a revision from me, or I think you should revise this
well, she's willing
application,
to
yeah.
do that.
Okay,
But-
but I don't wanna give input, this isn't my project. But what I'm saying is, all these points that Mike pointed out, they all need to be changed and corrected. Can that be done by the 25th? Can everybody review it and then? With their,
That was always the process.
Yeah,
That
but-
was always like the board, when I sent you the email with the resolution, the
Right,
board, what I had said is, I can edit that, you can provide me any kind of feedback until.
here's my
the
question,
25th.
I would like another opportunity after you've done an initial round of edit, and not for nothing. I don't know, this was done by end of day Thursday, and it's good. But there might be more, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm very conscious of your time. I'm not saying this to be, to try to.
Yeah. No, it's
Sorry,
fine. So
sorry.
let's put on the calendar now.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't have a babysitter. So this, this is gonna be great for me. But, let's see, where are we here? So today's the 21st.
Yeah,
So do we anticipate any other red line revisions?
No,
No,
I
just
don't-
mice.
I don't have any other,
I
Joanne.
would probably have another, but I don't see it being. I'm so sorry, I have one. I don't see them being redlined in so much as, adding, Hillsdale has a stellar record of coming together as a community, not only through great community events, like I might just have different thoughts about making it stronger, which you can then reject I don't see it them being so much as red lines as, let's add Michael Toth and let's add, more.
Yeah,
Paragraph.
I'm referring to the process, like.
Yeah, I'm wanting you to know that if I'm asking for another review session, it's not gonna be tearing it apart, it's gonna be building it up.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, so
totally
I just want you to
on the same
understand
page
that,
in That way.
Okay,
So if I'm just working with Mike's revisions.
Okay.
And now after we've met,
right,
I can turn around something by, tomorrow, end of day.
great.
Okay, now
busy
what,
tomorrow night,
what
so-
might be missing from that
Uh-huh.
is what I discussed in the town board meeting. What I want to do is I want to make sure to include all of the details of, the sewer infrastructure projects.
Okay, great,
To support housing initiatives, because that was what was described by the Department of State as the dearth in our application.
okay,
So that's new language, that
You can
takes a little
take-
bit more, but I think this board does agree on that the improvements to the sewer district would support housing density in the hamlet. Do we agree on that?
to a certain degree, but I think I can help you add language about further, like the big theme at the sewer is to get it working, expand it as much as possible, but then really look at a whole new entire system when we're going for a engineering grant. But
That detail,
yeah,
that type of detail, no.
no,
What we're trying to prove in this application
we have a
is
sewer
that you have made so many achievements with Dee Dee Barrett, with.
in the support.
So-
Okay,
So
we
Mike,
can write that.
usually, I'm not close to this, so if you wanna write a paragraph, I will then take that and stick it in there.
I will start off by sending you the newsletter that I'm writing.
Oh, okay.
And use that as a basis, and last month's newsletter, we can use that as a basis. But yeah, I can definitely,
Okay,
I
cause,
have a
yeah,
question.
sure.
How is the rehabilitation of, and the renovation of the current sewer plant that we have gonna help in any way, shape or form
Can't,
with any future? We're just rehabilitating what we have
yeah, I
Right.
think
to,
it,
excuse me, we're just rehabilitating what we have to make it work.
But we are going for a CFA DEC grant for the next phase of the sewer, which is an above ground system and a whole possible expansion of it. That's what the CFA grant is for.
Miles away.
Yeah, it is, but that doesn't matter. We just have to say it's in the works for
yeah,
the
I
grant.
think
I-
one of the points could be that, when towns invest in their sewer districts. It allows developers with, good intentions and deep pockets to actually
To
invest.
have confidence in.
Yeah, to actually invest, so I think that's the main.
Well, it also brings up Barbara's point, which is that we don't have sufficient space around the current area district for the sewer
I agree.
to expand. There isn't any, the expansion.
Well,
would
we're
have-
we're not talking about expansion of the sewer district
Oh,
specifically,
yeah.
in this. We're talking
Well,
about
to-
the achievements we've made in the past year.
Well, what
For,
achievements,
for
we're
improving the sewer
we're
district.
not improving it, we are rehabilitating it, we're not improving it.
Well,
Yeah, it
We're
technically. it's an
rebuilding it.
improvement. Yeah, it's
Well,
a capital.
why don't we write it, I'll run it by you,
It's,
but
you're making it sound like it's something entirely different.
Yeah, so, but, when you write a grant to the state especially,
Jamie, I don't
You're
think
letting
we
me
lectured
use our
when you
steps.
write a grant to the state. It's 1:00. What are we doing?
well, we are going to go forward. Unless you feel differently. With
Or what was?
edits.
I want to see all these red
Yes.
lines addressed.
But you will see that by end of
Day
day
tomorrow.
tomorrow,
so you'll
I
get the
will-
revised version.
the revised version,
Yeah,
I
if
will,
there are any conflicts or outliers, I will highlight those.
okay,
And, so I can do another, we'll do one day, so.
Okay.
Then you give me then I'll give you another 24 hour response. And then, I'll respond on the 24th, and
okay,
then 25th, we'll have a near final, and at least then if there's something really off, we still have a few days to fix it.
Okay.
before the
I
31st.
will be sharing this with Barbara as planning board and Lee Hine should just look at it. I doubt we will have any
Absolutely.
comments. Rabina, the board. I
Yeah,
don't,
everybody's gonna be.
Yeah.
To be, you know,
Yeah.
I think part of this process, I noticed that like the chairs are CC'd
Yeah.
on these emails, but you know, if we're really looking for full engagement, like, let's make sure all the
okay,
members of each of these city councils and boards.
Well, the planning board chair
Because
has
when,
responded twice.
yeah, okay, great.
When I received Barbara's letter, I tried to call her and I didn't get through to her, so I called another planning board member who wasn't even aware of the letter that she sent.
Okay,
And who said she
Let's-
didn't have the same,
let's stick to the schedule here and getting this done. Guys,
Who did you
So-
call?
so
Who did you call on the planning board?
I called Dan.
He wasn't even at the meeting.
Right,
Okay.
so
What?
irrelevant to the current conversation, irrelevant to the current conversation, we can talk about that later. Okay, end date tomorrow, you're gonna
Yeah.
present edits, I'm going to look at it, you're gonna just share with the board and the other chairs. Copied in that email chain, if they have any comments, what's the best way for you to do it, this, to post a shareable Word document that we can then edit? Or send you edits directly,
I'll send your answer to have a meeting. with
my
everybody that-
experience on with OneDrive,
Right.
sharing a link. Some people, for whatever reason,
yeah,
can't get through.
so why don't you share one with me?
Okay.
And I would like to make it directly in there. The other people can make comments via email unless they're too extensive.
Well, I'll send a link with all of the files.
Right,
And again, OneDrive just really is terrible with
Yeah.
this, but then in the email where I'm announcing the version,
Right.
I'll attach it. So I won't be able to attach all the files, those
Okay.
will be in the link,
right,
but the main application to Redline is the PDF
Yeah.
that so I need
Yeah.
I will have
you
that.
need that in a Word
So
version?
now I have it in the Word
As a
doc.
practical. So,
This is me.
you said the town board is getting it, we just listed all these people who are getting it, right?
Yeah.
What if people start commenting and say, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that? Are we opening up this crazy can of worms that, you're sending it to like 20 people? And we did, basically, I think we decided here, there would be no more edits except for the edits that, you received on the
Yeah.
red line. So, I almost think it's better to send it to them to say, just for your information, but, or say, because I really think it could be opening up a crazy can of worms.
Yeah, so, and absolutely, and I agree with you, I'm just trying to appease my board members.
Has Lee
I-
Line seen this?
No, it's down vacation.
But, look, okay, so why don't amongst the board, do a round? And then, you make the edits, I'll make another round, and at that point, we can share with the stakeholders determined and just say,
This is the final copy.
this is,
Okay.
yeah, this is, an application for a certain amount, please call with. No, well, we should share it with them and give it, I do want to share it with Barb. Maybe me and Barbara and this, I don't know what her time schedule is, so she's awfully busy.
So like the side conversations, like, if someone wants to be directly involved in this process, like, please contact me. Like, I'm always willing to take phone calls and, just contact me. But the reality is with grant applications that I've experienced is that people want to offer input or be involved until you ask them to actually do the work, and then you don't get a response. So we'll see.
Well, okay, so here's the overriding thing, big picture, 110K is possibly at stake here. And we are going to have to press go at a certain point with the amount of approval and input that we have from this time frame. And I think we can get there. Um. And it's gonna be, what's gonna be, it's gonna be, a little bit of work in the play time frame. But,
So how are we reaching a final decision?
well, we don't have to do anything, pass any resolution. Other than, do we need to pass a resolution for the final application to be submitted?
So we've already passed
You
the
already passed.
resolution for this application to be submitted, right?
Well, based on a resubmission of last year.
Yes.
So, I mean, I would feel more comfortable if we can pass a resolution, we can approve by email,
I would think.
like we did the abstract. Or
We can't approve, no, we can't
Yeah.
approve a resolution by email.
not a resolution, but approval of an application.
Oh, yeah, and that has been our protocol since
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah,
That has
I,
been that, so
well, yeah.
so the protocol has been that we pass a resolution for someone to actually do
right,
the application, or if there's a match, et cetera. And usually there's a piece of the application, but it's not in its total final form. And then it's supposed to be sent to the board for review before final submit, right? So that's what we're doing here.
I mean, yes, no, I mean, the Crest
This,
applications were full and, but yes.
But they
there
aren't also. this
Exactly,
way.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the salt shed, there was a draft application and I'll be getting an email approval.
this resolution needs to be changed. The town of Hillsdale seeks to amend resolution 65, 2024 to accommodate this year's reapplication for the smart growth planning zoning and grant program by extending the town's match obligation by 1 calendar year. It's not a reapplication. You're.
Right,
It is a reapplication.
so we're
By
gonna,
the definition of the CFA program, it's a reapplication. It's actually called a clone reapplication.
okay,
So,
so we'll get this to.
Closed reapplication.
yeah, it's actually a formal process where you clone your application and then you update it based on the last year's
Was finding meaning correct, I mean, an exact copy? No, isn't that what finding means?
it's just, it's in the.
It's the way things are done.
It's just
Yeah.
a process.
Demand, okay, so, but, this will be not substantially different, but different enough that we should. Email approve, which we can do, so you and I will go around,
Yeah,
we'll make a decision, this is ready to send to the board. And other stakeholders, obviously, the other stakeholders don't have a vote, but they can talk to each individual board member and say, well, we can't do this or that, but. But it'll be up to the town board. Going for this, $110,000 is, I think we're gonna make the determination that it's gonna be worth this. Heavy lift in the next week, so let's get to it. Okay?
and the likelihood that we will actually be awarded this application is very low.
Oh,
Given
gosh, don't say that.
So, I don't.
But the good news is, we will have a vetted template that we can use for other applications, so it is worth the effort.
Yeah.
Now we can use it
And-
if we wanted it on our own to hide our plan.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
there's my sig,
so this form is the other form. I didn't think this needed board approval. This is the sexual harassment prevention. So
Oh.
we have done this, the three of us in approval before,
okay,
because we're that.
Yeah.
so this is the form that
I gotta
says,
go.
yeah, okay,
I'll see you
go
later.
ahead, leave the form.
Is that somewhere?
Yeah, it's-
Thank you, Joanne.
You're welcome.
Is it in file I can get to?
Yeah, it's in the shared file.
Yeah, this is a standard form. So I just have to reassign it?
Yeah,
You
and
can
you
sign
can probably sign this for the other grant.
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
we signed this for the Crest with no Russia.
So I
And
just-
whoever we will hire will be,
I just don't.
yeah, so I would just need one for
Yeah.
this.
And actually, you can use the same. Those are, whatever those are dated in this year, you can use them.
Okay, could
It
you
doesn't
just
have to-
send me a screenshot of that, so I just
Yeah.
remembered to do that? You're gonna have to babysit me so my doxies are here. Okay, so
Great.
thank you for being willing to do this work. I think we'll come out stronger on the other side.
Yeah.
I make a
Motion to adjourn.
Thank
I
you.
don't know if it's-
Done?
Yeah,